Oh man, we have been hearing, I'm sure you have too, all this different information about the housing markets going around and interest rates and everything,
It's
and
crazy.
just the market in general. And I know you're wondering the same question too is right now a good time to buy? So we've all heard, housing prices going down, less sold. But today, we are going to talk all about it and whether or not the Phoenix metro area, it's a good time to buy here or not. So stay tuned.
So we get so many calls from people that are thinking of moving to the Phoenix area, and honestly, we just love it. We love talking with people. We've lived here for 30 plus years, and so we know the area really well. We know all the communities. We know, everything there is to know about living, breathing, eating, everything about Phoenix, and we want to be able to share that with you. But to do so, we need you to reach out to us. So do me a favor, give me a call or give us a call. Send us a message, send us a DM, however you want to reach out to us. We're here for you, and we want to be able to share everything about the Phoenix area with you.
Yep, we even accept carrier pigeons and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, we do?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
So we are here in November of 2022, and we get a lot of people asking, especially buyers, if they missed their golden opportunity to buy over here. And we just want to get into that and start talking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So yes, Phoenix, like most other areas in the U.S. over the last couple of years, the prices have gone up dramatic. Interest rates a couple years ago were at basically an all-time low, but we're seeing we are having some of the highest levels of interest rates that we've had in decades now over
Yeah, I
here.
think almost 20 years.
So now I'm sure you've heard around most house pricing has either stagnated or flatlined, and then a lot of areas have seen house prices actually decrease with a lot more supply and a lot less demand. So what does that really mean for you with the house pricing coming down a little bit and housing being more available, but that interest rates being so high right now?
So, like most parts of the country, we've had a significant supply issue where there was a lot more people that were looking to buy homes than where homes were available. So, if you were a buyer in the Phoenix area in the last couple of years, a couple of things. Number one, you probably had to offer way over list price. There were some homes that were getting as many as 20 and 30 and 40 offers on each and every home. So as a buyer, if you wanted to be the winner, you had to be the one that offered the most over list price. The other things that buyers had to do is they had to waive their appraisal contingency. So let's say the home was listed for 500 and it appraised for 500, but you had to offer 550 or 560 to be able to get it. Well, you had to waive your appraisal contingency, which meant you had to come up with an extra $50,000 or $60,000. The other thing that sellers they were in the driver's seat. So what they were saying is, hey, if you want my house, you're going to take it as is. So we want you to either totally waive your inspection contingency, or you can do your inspection, but we're not going to do any repairs. Seller paid closing costs. Forget it. Sellers were not offering any kind of closing costs. The other thing that a lot of sellers were doing is they wanted to sell their home and then they wanted to stay living in it for a month or two while they went and found their next home. And so a lot of buyers were having to offer sellers what we call post-close possession to be able to get that home. So as a buyer, that wasn't really a very good market for you. It was a very, very strong seller's market, with the sellers absolutely being in control. Things have shifted a little bit, and now the buyers are more in the driver's seat. So the numbers today, so we're in November of 2022. So back in March, we had about 4,500 available homes or active homes in the Phoenix metro area. Today we have almost 4 times as many homes that are available. So for the buyers, that's great news. You have a lot more availability and a lot more options. Before you maybe had 1 or 2 homes that you could choose from. Now you might have, 5 or even 10 homes that might be available. The other thing that, sellers are having to reduce their prices. They're not being able to offer and get over list price offers on their homes. are actually having to reduce their prices to get an offer. The other thing that sellers are doing is they're offering what's called a buy down. So they're offering to buy down the buyer's interest rate. So even though the interest rates are really high, if the seller buys down your rate, you can get a much lower interest rate. So that is going to bring your monthly payment way down. Inspections, you get to do your full inspection. A lot of times sellers are offering to do a lot of the repairs that just a few months ago they would not do at all. So for all of those reasons, this represents a much better time to be a buyer. It is, for the most part, most of Phoenix, the Phoenix metro area is now in what we would call a buyer's advantage type of market.
So, still, some buyers are a bit skeptical, but let's get into some numbers here to give you some examples. So, these are purely just examples. We're going to start with a home price of $500,000 just for these examples we're going to give. Mm-hmm. We'll have all the numbers right up here as well so you can follow along with us. So if you are looking for a home that is less than $500,000, that is still perfectly okay. Or if you're looking for one that is more than $500,000, still perfectly okay. And we can definitely help you out and would love to help you out. But we're just going to use the 500 as our example here for these.
So as an example, let's say you were out looking for a home back in March or the earlier part of this year, and the home was listed for $500,000. Well, you probably, and you were going to put 20% down. So that meant you had to put $100,000 down, and you were going to be getting a loan for about $400,000. Now, 3% interest rate, which is what the interest rates were at earlier this year, your monthly payment would be about $1,686 a month. Let's say $1,700 a month. But you probably weren't going to get that home for $500,000. You probably were going to have to offer at least, I'm going to say, $50,000 over. Most homes here were going for about 10% over. So you either had to finance $550,000, or just to offer $550,000. Which meant you had to get a loan for $440,000 instead of $400,000. So that brought your payment up to about $1,855. But a lot of times what happened is it wouldn't appraise. So instead of getting a bigger loan, you actually had to come up out of pocket with more money. So an additional $50,000. So instead of $100,000 down payment, now you had to have a $150,000 down payment.
Hey Barbara, real quick, can you explain that in appraisal contingency just in case the viewers don't really know what that is?
Sure. So when you make an offer on a home and you're getting a loan, you're going to have an appraisal done. The bank is going to do an appraisal, and then they're going to decide what they feel the value of the home is. And a bank is only going to lend on what they feel the value is. So if they said the value is $500,000, then that's all they're going to lend on. So if your offer was $550,000, you're going to have to come up with the difference between what the appraisal was at and what your offer was.
So for that example, you'd have to come up with that $50,000 difference out of pocket, as you
Correct.
Can't get lending for it.
Correct.
Okay, so let's jump ahead to today and use the same example in today's market. So that same home, let's say it's listed for $500,000, you'll probably be able to get it for about $450,000 now. And 20% to that $450,000?
In some areas.
In some areas.
We just want you to make sure that that's not every area, but in some areas.
Yep, this is just an example in some areas. Other areas are definitely not like that, but for this example, let's say the home is priced at $500,000. Let's say you can get it for $450,000, so 20% of that would be $90,000. So with that $90,000 down, that 20%, that would be a $360,000 loan. Now interest rates are now more about the 7% area versus back at the 3% area. So let's say with a $360,000 loan at 7% compared to our previous example of going over list price and having a loan of $440,000, you're actually going to be spending about $500 more per month, even though you're financing $80,000 less, just because the interest rates are a bit higher. So what does that mean exactly? So that means that for some buyers, if you are on a budget and you have a specific monthly payment in mind, you are going to have to lower that home value that you're looking at now versus what you were able to find before. So before, again, with that $500,000 home, much more difficult to get back then because it was a heavy seller's market. You'd have to make quite a few concessions as the buyer and often go over list price. but the actual monthly payments now are actually going to be a little bit higher just because of that interest rate.
Yeah, but as a buyer in today's market, what you can also do is ask the seller to pay some of your closing costs. You can ask the seller to do a buy down. So there's things called, it's called a 2-1 buy down. And it gets kind of complicated. That is best answered by a lender, exactly how that works. But basically what you can do is buy down the interest rate for a year or 2 years so that it brings your payment way down. So those have become very, very popular. Sellers are offering them today. So don't get discouraged by that 7% interest rate number. Know that there is a little bit of flexibility with it. And with the right seller, you might be able to get your interest rate down, into the, 5% or maybe even a little bit less.
Yep, and that's again where we're here to help you guide you through that situation and just help you find your perfect location and perfect home. Now, another benefit of that seller buy down for the first year or two is it will lower that interest rate. And then after that first year or two, you can then refinance when hopefully there are overall lower interest rates, and then you can get that monthly payment down on a new refinance fixed rate moving forward from there. As realistically, since we are basically at historic high interest rates, it's going to come down eventually, hopefully pretty soon here within the next year or two. So preparing for that and then just being ready to refinance at that point definitely puts you in a good position as a buyer.
Yeah, and just keep in mind too that when interest rates do start coming back down, most of the buyers that are out there sitting on the sidelines are going to be jumping back in. So it's going to become much more competitive. So if you're a savvy buyer, now is actually a really good time for you to be able to get out there, find a great property at a great price. And you don't have a lot of competition. So you don't have all the other buyers that are out there that you're fighting for the same home.
Exactly. And just elaborate on that slightly, when those interest rates do come down and those buyers come on, as Barbara said, that means, again, that supply and demand. With increased demand, the prices are going to go up. And then with the interest rates low, as we mentioned before, you can always refinance. So you can actually, as you said, get it now for that good price, refinance, and then you'll be nice and ahead of those buyers that were on the sidelines.
That's right.
Well, so that basically covers the market shift we're seeing here in the Phoenix area and giving you some real examples of pricing and everything. And again, we don't want anyone to be discouraged. There's a lot of different opportunities out there and a lot of different planning that you can do to really put yourself ahead as a buyer and to really take advantage of the current buyer's market we're seeing here in the Phoenix metro area.
Yeah, they always say the best opportunities are when nobody else is taking advantage of them. I think that was, I don't know, somebody had that quote. So, you know what? Be one of those people. Be a contrarian. Reach out to us. We like to help people that help you figure out the best way to get the best opportunity for you and your family.
Absolutely. And then if you do need any of that specific information on any of these or specific numbers or possibly meet with a lender, or you just have questions about the valley or want to find that perfect spot to you, please reach out to us. We're here to help. We're here to help you, give you as much information as we can as possible, and just direct you and to help you find your ideal home and your ideal location. But hey, if you liked that video and you thought it was helpful, please hit that like button. If you have any other comments or anything else, leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, please get that bell on, get notified of all our future videos because we do upload every week. And then thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.